So if you've listened to this podcast before, you will know that I am all about helping you to think and act more strategically. And the trouble with the one-liner New Year's resolution is that not a lot of strategic thought goes into it. Instead, I invite you to spend this little bit of time with me today. A little bit of thought going in behind the scenes now will mean you're much more likely to have a strategic New Year's resolution and much more likely to succeed in it. Welcome to the Independent School Podcast. Thinking and acting strategically is the key to both securing the future of your school and helping to build a more equal and just world. My name's Juliette Corbett. I'm a consultant, speaker and facilitator specialising in helping independent schools. In this podcast, I translate tried and tested strategy and fundraising techniques into a language that works for schools. So if you're a senior leader in a private school and you want your daily work to feel less exhausting and more strategic, and if you want once more to feel the joy of making the world a better place through education, then you're in the right place. Welcome, and let's get started on this week's episode. Hello. As we prepare to enter 2022, many of you may be starting to think about New Year's resolutions. Personally, I'm never a big fan of them. I find that actually they are ill thought through, at least on my part, in most cases. Instead of a single statement, I will exercise more, which I will break before the end of January, I actually approach this in a slightly different way. It takes a tiny bit more effort and work, but from my experience, it is well worth the time, and it sets it up for a much greater success in terms of shifting and changing some of those behaviours you might want to be thinking about altering in 2022. And you will not be surprised to hear that basically I use a strategy development technique. I create a strategy for myself each new year, not just for my business, but for me. Now, I know that makes me sound rather sad. Stick with me here, guys. I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 steps that I use and that you can use to craft your 2022 strategy, both for yourself and your work and the way that you balance the two. Really quickly, before we dive into the detail, I want to make sure that you make the most of the time you invest listening to this podcast. And the best way to do that is to make sure you grab a copy of my free ebook, The Strategic Independent School Leader. It outlines how to answer the 6 essential questions that will clarify your school strategy and secure its future. In the world of business, strategy can be full of jargon, but it doesn't have to be that way. This is a jargon-free tool tailor-made to help private school leaders think and act more strategically. Download your free copy today at www.consultjuliette.co.uk/ebook. So if you've listened to this podcast before, you will know that I am all about helping you to think and act more strategically. And the trouble with the one-liner New Year's resolution is that not a lot of strategic thought goes into it. Instead, I invite you to spend this little bit of time with me today for me to talk you through, and you can pause the podcast as we go and have a think about these 4 steps. A little bit of thought going in behind the scenes now will mean you're much more likely to have a strategic New Year's resolution and much more likely to succeed in it. So there are 4 steps that you can use to craft your strategy for 2022. The first one is your vision. Where do you want to be at the end of 2022? What does your work, your life, your work-life balance feel like at that point? If you imagine yourself December 2022, how does it feel? What are you spending your time doing? Which goals have you achieved? How is it different from the way you approach your working life now? Don't list too much down. You don't want to be overly ambitious and say you're going to change everything by the end of 2022. But actually, you would be surprised how much you can achieve and change in just 1 year if you're really focused and strategic about it. So don't hesitate to dream big. If you want to make big visionary changes in your life, jot them down. Create a short couple of sentences or a couple of bullet points that encapsulates your vision for where you want to be at the end of 2022. Okay, step number 2. Think about your accelerators. These are the things that are going really well, that are already helping to drive you towards achieving that vision. And think about your sticking points. What is holding you back? What's preventing you from making the changes required to achieve that vision by the end of the year? Now, you could, if you are a bit of an overachiever, sit down and do a SWOT analysis about this if you want to, or you can just go with gut instinct. That's absolutely fine. But jot down a couple of notes about the things that are propelling you forward, your strengths. Perhaps this is to do with skills, to do with experience, things that are going well in your school at the moment. And some of the things that are holding you back, your sticking points. These could be areas you need a bit more experience or a little bit more knowledge, or it could be an external factor to do with your school environment in which you're working, which is holding you back. Jot down your ideas. Step number 3 is thinking about the general way that you are going to harness those accelerators and make the most of them. And critically important, overcome those sticking points. Now, you can do a bit of brainstorming and write down lots of things, if you want to start with that way, about all the general ways that you could overcome your sticking points and harness your accelerators. But at the end of that process, you just want a list of 3 to 5 things that you're going to be working on. Try not to overwhelm yourself with too many ideas at this point. This is something that you actually need to be able to hold in your head, or at least on a very small piece of paper, post-it note somewhere, through the rest of the year. So keep it short. Now, I'm sitting at my desk as I record this, and off to my right is my whiteboard. And on my whiteboard, I have pinned my 2021, I haven't yet done this process for 2022, my 2021 strategy. And this includes 5 general approaches. So 5 statements of the general ways that I was planning to overcome my sticking points. And I can see that I've got a tick next to each of those 5. I have managed to stay on track with my strategy this year, which is fantastic. And I will be shortly joining you and creating the same approach for 2022. The other thing I do, which I have on my whiteboard next to me as well as my 3 to 5 things I'm going to be focusing on this year, I pick one word each year. So over the last couple of years, 1 year I picked leverage, and that was all to do with harnessing my networks and my testimonials, my social proof, in order to get my business kind of off the ground back a couple of years ago and build momentum around my business. So leverage was my word for that year. This year we're just finishing up 2021. My word was flow. It was all about finding efficiencies in my processes, but also finding my flow and enabling me to work at my best by managing my diary, blocking out time for certain projects, finding the ways that I can bring my best self to all of my work by enhancing flow in everything that I'm doing. And for 2022, I haven't quite decided yet, but I think my word is going to be freedom. And the reason is because I feel like sometimes, because I've now built a successful business, I sometimes feel constrained by my own thinking. And I want to make sure that I'm freeing my thinking through 2022 so that I can serve you to the best of my ability, but in novel and creative ways, perhaps. So I think probably I'm going to pick freedom for next year. But maybe pick 1 or possibly 2 words that are going to be the foundation for how you go about being strategic in achieving your vision in 2022. And put that next to your list of 3 to 5 general things you're going to be working on this year. Step number 4 is your action plan. So for this one, this is where you're going to be working on it monthly or quarterly through the year. So for now, jot down the things that you will commit to doing this month or this quarter. Keep each action small, doable. Don't put anything on there that feels too big, like something that you're actually quite fearful of. Break it down into small steps. You're much more likely to take action that way. And don't think too far ahead. Don't plan out your whole year. You need to be able to be flexible and agile as the year progresses. But make sure that everything on that action plan is actually linked to one of those 3 to 5 bullet points that you had in the previous step about the general approach that you're going to take, the general way you're going to focus over the year. So each of your actions needs to be linked to one of your bullet points in your general approach, step 3, which will help you to harness accelerators and overcome sticking points, which will help you to deliver and achieve your vision by the end of 2022. Now, the eagle-eyed or the eagle-eared of you will have noticed that this is the 4 building blocks of strategy framework that I use with all of my clients. It's really flexible for use in whole school strategy, fundraising strategy, and when I'm working with people on career change as well through the Lucidity Accelerator program. So do have a go at this yourself. Let me know how you go. And if you feel like you need some help to clarify your thinking, just reach out and we'll chat in the new year about how I could help you either with career change elements or with delivering your vision for your school through strategic action. Perfect. Have a wonderful New Year celebration and I will see you in 2022. Bye bye for now. Thanks for listening to the Independent School Podcast, the podcast that helps senior leaders in private schools to think and act more strategically, both because they want to secure the future of their school and because they want to help build a more equal and just world. You can listen in everywhere that podcasts are available. And if you want to catch up on previous episodes or follow any of the links that I've mentioned today, just head over to www.consultjuliet.co.uk/podcast.